Thank you. Really, I'm delighted to be a part of this conference since morning. You must have been tired listening to so many people because it's quite an academic exercise. I don't know whether you are tired or not. Myself, fatigue will naturally be there, and the whole day you listen to so many things. But because it was interesting and educative, I was attending almost every session fully except for a few minutes. I'm really thankful to Hudson Institute for inviting me to this conference and giving me an opportunity to express about the organization that I represent. So just now introduced to you. Most of you know about the RSS. And I'm here to meet some people and interact with them. I also had an opportunity to participate in another conference in Stanford recently about science, technology, global health, and sustainability. And I had the opportunity to, where Bill Drexel was a moderator. So the RSS is now has completed 100 years of its service to nation and society. The RSS has reached out to a vast section of people within the country. We thought it also necessary to interact with the thinking and influencing sections and individuals of other countries, particularly the Western countries where America naturally leads. So I had the opportunity of interacting with some of the influential opinion makers and also some think tanks. And this global outreach has helped me to communicate what RSS really means and what it's doing. So I'm really happy that here in midst of you, I will be expressing certain things in the form of answers to Sameer's questions.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. General Secretary. It really is great to welcome you to Hudson Institute and to do it in the company of so many good friends. I was fortunate enough to have decided that I needed to understand the RSS at more or less the time the RSS had decided that it wanted to engage more with people from the West. And thanks really to Ram Madhav, who originally introduced me, and to Tim Shah, who I don't see is here today, but who introduced me to Ram. I've been able to meet some of the people at many different levels in the organization and begin to acquaint myself a bit with how it works. I'm still learning. It's a very big organization, but the reality that it is in modern history, I can only think of two other organizations globally that have had the kind of impact that the RSS has had. They're very different organizations, but the Communist Party of China and the Muslim Brotherhood are organizations that have transformed societies. And of those, the RSS is perhaps, has been, seems to have the longest trajectory ahead of it, and maybe also be ultimately the most significant, as its field of operation is the world's most populous country. Yet it is almost unknown territory even for many in the United States who think of themselves as knowing something about India. So to have the General Secretary with us today, willing to answer some of my questions, and maybe if you're lucky, some of yours, is a real privilege. So let me start. The RSS is one of the largest organizations in the world today. It may actually be the largest organization, and yet it remains extremely poorly understood in the West. How would you describe what the RSS actually does on the ground day to day? What is this thing?
RSS is the People's Voluntary Movement, and inspired by cultural ethos and civilization values of the ancient society in India, which is generally known as Hindu philosophy and Hindu culture. RSS is engaged for the last 100 years to create volunteers, whom we call Swayamsevaks in Sanskrit, but it can be loosely translated as volunteer, and organizing society, which is apparently having vast diversities, but in fact it's having underlying oneness. So to create these volunteers with character, self-confidence, and a sense of service to community, and also for organizing the society. For this purpose, RSS organizes daily assemblies, around 83,000 latest count, and weekly assemblies for 1 hour, another 30,000 places. So through this 1 hour gathering, the inculcating of values of life, as I said, self-confidence, service-mindedness, and feeling of oneness is achieved. Pay back to the society to create human social capital for the purpose of society's betterment and nation's oneness. So that is the work of RSS. People of every walk of life and all age group have become the volunteers of this organization. RSS renders services like relief activity during natural calamities, and also on other occasions in the field of education, health, self-reliance, and rural development, environmental issues. So the RSS volunteers have created civic institutions numbering nearly 40. Most of them have become nationwide organizations engaged in nation-building activities.
I remember on one of my visits to India, I went to the home of Dr. Hedgewar, the founder of the RSS, and apparently there were something like 5 people at the opening, at the first meeting. So this organization has grown from a very tiny beginning to, you say, 83,000 meetings, daily meetings throughout the country. How do they get people to come to these meetings?
See, a commitment is created because the personal, individual, one-on-one contacts. The daily shaka creates the sense of camaraderie, and because of that, the social commitment is awakened in them, and a sense of duty and paying back to the society selflessly. This is there in the people, and we only arouse it, awaken it, and because of this environment of in a very friendly and cordial atmosphere, the individual volunteers, they attend these shakas. But there is an organization structure to keep the activity going on, and various responsibilities are also assigned to volunteers on the basis of their experience and competence and capacities. So the organization structure takes care of continuation of the activity year long, and also planning for the various occasional activities that are helpful for society, and also helping strengthening the organization. So there is an organization structure, but a sense of commitment and in a cordial atmosphere helps in a big way to keep the work going on.
And yet somehow the RSS is very controversial. What do you think Americans most get wrong about the RSS or misunderstand?
Americans' misunderstanding is not only about RSS.
Yeah, but India as well. The whole Americans are very good at misunderstanding. I think we can all agree on that.
But we believe that you will be correcting those misunderstandings.
Oh, yes. In the 83,000 daily meetings of people who study Walter Mead thought.
America's misunderstanding about India is that it is overpopulated, full of slums, and poverty, and it is the land of snakes, slums, and swamis. Means gurus. Oh,
Three
but
S's.
India is also a tech hub, technology. Indian scientists have reached the moon, and India is a fourth economy in the world. So these things are somehow they are missed in the common American perception. About RSS also, the narrative that is built over decades, knowingly, unknowingly, or as a part of agenda or whatever it is, that RSS is a Hindu supremacist, or that is in a way the anti-Christian, anti-minority, anti-development in women, anti-modernization. So what is pro is not told. Always anti, this thing has been propagated. And somehow Indian version of Ku Klux Klan, which is not.
The saffron Ku Klux Klan is what people might say. Well, and how would you challenge that view? What is it that the RSS, for example, people say it's a Hindu supremacist organization. How would you say, no, we're not a Hindu supremacist organization? What is it that you are instead?
The Hindu philosophy and Hindu culture doesn't allow it to be supremacist, because we see that the whole world is one family and all are brothers and sisters, and there's no question of supremacy there. And we see the oneness in everybody, being the living and non-living things. So when that is the basic philosophy of Hindus, the supremacist nature of Hindus cannot be there.
Okay.
And also, in the history, Hindus have never invaded any country. Hindus have never enslaved any people. Hindus have nothing to apologize for.
Okay, now we'll share that with some of our British friends and see what they say. And the RSS has been, certainly in the last few years, where it's been closely associated with the BJP, the governing party, it's been very much part of India's cultural and economic modernization project. But we think about future-oriented modernization, and then we think about the celebration of ancient Hindu roots and cultural values. It seems like modernization and tradition pull in different directions. How does the RSS think about trying to balance those impulses, going back to the roots while looking to the future?
See, cultural values and modernization are strictly not contradictory to each other. They can exist simultaneously. Though they may often create some tensions here and there, and they require adaptation, both modernization and cultural values, according to the times. While modernization brings industrialization, technology, and individualistic trends, it can work alongside culture and cultural values as well. See, thing is, the simultaneous existence of culture and modernity has been experienced in recent decades in many societies, Oriental societies particularly, whether it is a Hindu society, Indian society, Japan, or China, all have modernized, but at the same time, their cultural and civilizational values, they are kept intact and they take inspiration from that. So that's why I don't think the cultural values and modernization, they pull in opposite direction. Only thing is that some adaptation may be required time to time. That is what the Hindu philosophy says as Sanatana. The Sanatana means the eternity. That is, Sanatana is, it is ever growing, but at the same time, the ancient one. It is ancient, but ever growing. The example that is given in our philosophical tenets is like a banyan tree. A banyan tree has deep and strong roots. It is cultural and civilizational ethos. And the banyan tree has also so many branches, and every season, new sprout and new leaves and new flowers bloom and blossom. So that is as new as it is old. So culture and modernization can live together. That is a part of nature.
In sort of Anglo-American literary and philosophical tradition, Edmund Burke is, I suppose, the thinker who's associated with this idea of modernization rooted in tradition, or ultimately for him, that he did not really see the contradiction. And he argued, in fact, that if you lost touch with the roots, ultimately this would reduce your ability to modernize successfully. Does that kind of coincide with?
Exactly. T.S. Eliot has also written about tradition and modernity.
Ah, yes. Well, I was only an undergrad English major. You went to grad school, so you can outdo me there, clearly. Yeah, I hope, personally, I hope that we can spark more conversation between Americans and Indians on thinkers and writers like Eliot and Burke and others coming out of the Indian tradition, because I think there are unexplored connections that could really lead to a deeper understanding that might even have an impact at policy. But this is one of the things that has.
That would be one of the wonderful projects that institute like Hudson Institute can take up.
Well, absolutely, and I know we have friends at the India Foundation, and we may continue to speak with them about some of these ideas. But now let's go to something more depressing: great power politics. America is looking to India increasingly as an indispensable strategic partner and a counterweight in Asia to the rise of China. But to play a role like that, which I think India also wants to prevent any other country from being dominant in Asia, this requires a very sustained period of economic and social development, of really almost a radical modernization of and institutions to be. What do you think, how does India do this? What does India need to do to realize its full potential?
I think in the previous sessions, this has been wonderfully discussed by other panelists. So, however, the India wants to have good relations with all the countries, neighboring countries or distant countries, particularly countries like US and other such major powers in the world. So, if America is also looking for strategic partnership with India. So India is, because of its size, because of its demographic dividend, because of technological advancement, because of its fourth economy in the world, and the size of India's population, naturally, a better relation, as it has been discussed, and partnership is called for. And how it can be done? It can be done because of mutual trust and level playing field and mutual respect and recognizing the needs of each other. So I think in the modern geopolitical situation, these issues are very important. If that mutuality is missing, then I think the trust deficit will be there.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think building people-to-people relations is critical for this.
You said it. This people-to-people relation should be strengthened so that more people understand the other societies. So many a time, prejudices work, or sometime some expressions are, that may cause damage, but definitely people should see the people of other societies or civilizations, other countries, they themselves. Then creating such an atmosphere and facilitating this by both state and non-state actors like institutions and think tanks and universities can do a lot in this, so that this mutuality and trust is strengthened.
Yeah, that's certainly shaped a lot of what we've tried to do here at Hudson in our India project. We've been trying to take American journalists and think tank people for visits in India. We worry that because there aren't enough of these deep people-to-people relationships, enough understanding in the U.S. of the Indian point of view and Indian civilization, that mistakes can be made in foreign policy, or whether either in the substance or in the presentation, that can have serious costs. I think we maybe were a little too late in that we were unable to prevent exactly that from happening in recent months, perhaps. But we hope that in the future, to us, this just means we need to work harder to try to make sure that in the future, the foundations of the relationship are strong enough.
And civic institutions can also help in this way, in a big way.
Exactly right. So we will continue with what we're doing, and I hope some of the people that are with us today will want to help us and support that mission. The RSS has long argued that a strong Hindu cultural identity is the foundation needed for a stronger India. But does that project risk alienating not only local minorities inside India, but also maybe creating difficulties in the relations with neighboring states? How does the RSS navigate the tension between an India that is becoming more Hindu and a neighborhood where other states, and particularly I could think of states that emerged from British India after the partition, where this is a very divisive concept?
See, in RSS view, Hindu identity is a civilizational identity, not a religious one, not faith-based. As such, there is no room for being alienated or think of alienation. Civilizational values, worldview, and manifestations of them in life, human relation with nature, and historic facts, they all contribute to the formation of a culture. So the religion is not playing that role in forming the culture. That's why RSS has always emphasized about the cultural ethos and civilizational values, which are not nothing to do with directly religion. When you say minorities, religious minorities, I mean. So these, however, tensions have been there on and off because of some political interests, wrong understanding of history, or wrong interpretation of history, and some other machinations. RSS believes that continuous and comprehensive dialogue with all these groups will definitely help in clearing the misconceptions, misgivings, or if there are any fear is there, that can be definitely clarified. So RSS is engaged in such dialogues with the so-called minorities and their leadership.
What about with neighboring countries, with
Neighboring countries, tensions are there because of various factors, because there in the political leadership of neighboring countries, many a time they have not come to the, as I said, the mutuality and trust that was damaged in the past decades, and the people-to-people relation with neighboring countries is still, even today, it is one of the best, and that's why many people who visit neighboring countries are happy. And the problem is only with one neighboring country, and which is born out of the Indian womb. And it has become a neighboring country, but many people are behind that country to create problems.
Yeah, when you talk about this sense of civilizational identity, I find myself thinking maybe for Americans, the closest comparison, which is strange in a way, would be to Jews, where Judaism, people are Jews, some people are Jews out of a clear religious commitment, but many Jews are Jewish in a cultural way and maybe don't embrace the religion formally, but are their life experiences, worldview, food that they eat or whatever has that cultural connection. Is that how you think of Hinduism in India?
Something like that, of course. But however, the comparison may not be 100% always true. But it is something akin to that. And what I is in the long history of India has developed a worldview on the basis of the philosophy that has been visualized and explained in our Upanishads and Vedic texts. So because of that, the various sects and other sages who have explained those things in the context of society and nature, they all have emphasized on this particular worldview. And I think that has manifested in our day-to-day life. India's soul is spirituality. And the culture is the expression of the soul of a nation. And India's culture expresses that spirituality. If the Jews are also thinking the same way, I think you are right.
Well, I remember I used to live in Jackson Heights, Queens, in New York. And of course, that is a neighborhood with a lot of people from South Asia. And you would walk down the streets and see restaurants and, holiday, Diwali lights and so on. But you'd find there some people were from India, some Pakistan, some Bangladesh. And yet somehow in Jackson Heights, they all seemed to be, they felt a sense of unity and they were all drawn to the same place. Is this something of the way you think of the civilizational unity of people?
It can be many such experiments have taken place. For example, in Puducherry in India, Aurobindo Society, they have also thought of words oneness through creating Auroville. So this oneness has been tried in many ways. But thing is, I think bringing together is one thing. But feeling that oneness is possible, as you said, by better understanding of other people in society. And in a way, what you said also can be helpful in making people understand that oneness.
Now, to get away from oneness for a moment here, Pakistan has recently reasserted itself as a significant player in Gulf and broader Islamic world diplomacy. From an RSS standpoint, how do you assess this development, and how do you assess what it means for India and Indian policy?
RSS doesn't get into this politics of these things. However, what the government of India says and thinks and feels, that is in the interest of India, and we are in alignment with that.
Okay, so on this particular issue, you and the government are...
No, on many issues.
Many issues, yes.
Because the people who are in the government are from the RSS background.
Yes, and this, when we mentioned earlier that that something like 40 organizations, national organizations, have come out of the BJP, of the RSS, or been started by its volunteers. One of them, I guess, is the BJP. So the relationship between the RSS and the ruling party in India is quite close, and one could even say profound, which is one of the reasons certainly that we at Hudson Institute think that Americans need to spend a lot more time understanding the worldview of the RSS and the aspirations of the RSS, because they're not unconnected to the ideas that are moving the current government.
Of course, the formation of BJP in 1980 was because of the founders of the BJP. They wanted to retain the relationship RSS. So that was the prime reason for formation of the political party coming away from Janata Party at that time. That's why that umbilical cord relationship cannot be wished away.
That's right. And I guess the Prime Minister has been an active volunteer in the RSS for much of his life.
That is true. He is also proud of it, and we are also proud of him.
Very much so. Well, you know, from 5 people meeting in a doctor's house in one city in India to a movement that has generated the political party that now rules the most populous country on the planet and has perhaps received more votes in democratic elections than any other political party now existing on the planet. It's quite a movement. That's quite a first 100 years. What next?
Thank you for that compliment. And if we are number one on the planet, we have not become big brothers, and we will not be. With the strength, the humility comes. That is what the Hindu philosophy says. And we not only believe in that, we are the practitioners of that. So that the strength and success has made us humble. And we want to be so. So humbly I would like to submit that the RSS will be, for the next decades and whatever time it takes, will be engaging in the same activity of creating selfless volunteers for the work of society, nation, and for the work of humanity, for the service of humanity at large. Because it has always been said that a real Hindu ceases to be a Hindu. He becomes universal global citizen. And the RSS believes in that. So that's why this work of creating Swayamsevaks volunteers and engaging them in socio-cultural activities for the benefit of society, nation, and humanity will continue. And at the same time, we would like to see that India embraces modernity, get modernized, but having its cultural roots strong enough so that the succeeding generations of India, they should be able to realize the dream of the great patriots who worked for the emancipation of India for last centuries. So that dream should be fulfilled. But it also makes us it also enables us to serve the humanity. And for this, RSS at the threshold of centenary has thought of 5 areas in the next years to engage itself. One of the challenges before the Indian society and also a challenge before humanity is cohesion and harmony. Within Indian society, the social harmony and cohesion, as I said in the beginning, the diversities and disparities, many a time they create tensions and mistrust. And in order to achieve unity, the emphasizing social harmony and working for that is necessary. Second, an eco-friendly life at the personal family level also. Many times environmental issues are discussed on international fora. Public policies are made, protocols are signed. But ultimately it boils down to how the individuals and societies and communities, they behave with environment. So that is why small but doable actions for the ordinary people should be designed and it should be told and communicated. That's why eco-friendly life on the day-to-day basis for green life, clean life is necessary. Use less energy, save water, plant a tree, these things in a big way will be helpful so that you bring the people nearer to nature. Third, family values and inculcating, imbibing cultural and humanistic values in the upcoming generation, and families are built on affection and trust. So families are breaking because of modern life and many other issues. So that's why family values are important. That is why the RSS has thought of is emphasizing on healthy families. Healthy family is guarantee for healthy nations. And the fourth thing is nations have to be self-reliant. That's why our Prime Minister has also said Atmanirbharata, that is self-reliance in economy and also security issues and many other issues. But that doesn't mean give and take will be over. We have to keep the doors open, but anytime dealing with any society, any country, any nation should be on our own, in the nation's interest. So national self-hood in every walk of life, including economy and other, that also should be considered for proper nation building activity. And the fifth, civic duties and civic sense. That means wholesome citizenship qualities and virtues. That should be inculcated, imbibed in individuals and communities. So these 5 areas, as a first step, the RSS has started among its volunteers, and now on the occasion of centenary year, we are now spreading it to the whole nation, and we have been communicating this to large society through various activities. And I believe these 5 areas are universal things: social harmony, environment, family values, civic sense and duties. All these things are definitely, they are having their universal acceptance, and this is in a way universal value for the whole world. So RSS has started to imbibe these qualities. So that is how you want to make a strong, prosperous nation that would be bringing the dreams of our forefathers for the great nation, and also to feel and make world as one family. So for that, it cannot be an emotional exhortation, but for that, a nation has to be strong and self-confident enough. Then only we can serve the cause of humanity wherever there is misery and hardship.
Okay. Well, that sounds like enough work to keep you busy for a while. That's a very, very ambitious and very thoughtful program.
We want your active participation and cooperation also for this.
There's nothing in any of those 5 points that I disagree with. So I think we can, I'm looking forward to continuing to get to know you, the organization, and India better, and working to build bridges. Thank you for this. And we actually do have some time for some questions from the audience. So please remember that a question is a short statement that would be punctuated with a question mark. So let's try to keep it short so that many can have a chance. Yes, the lady back here. And the mic is coming to you. And the mic is coming to you. Please introduce yourself, just tell us who you are and ask your
My
question.
name is Sahana Singh. I'm an author. I'm based in Ithaca, New York. And my question is for Dattatreya ji, I wanted to know the difference between volunteering and Seva and the Sanghatan work done by RSS. Because see, my daughter studied in high school, and the only reason she did volunteering was that there were credits associated with it. So many hours of volunteering and you get credit, and that's how you graduate. But with RSS, there doesn't seem to be any of that kind of incentive. There's no incentive of heaven or a fear of hell, or no credits. But still, there are so many of them getting into this kind of work. And how is it different from volunteering?
I've already told. Volunteer is a loose translation of the term Swayam Sevak. For short of better term, we are using this one. The Swayam Sevak, or the volunteer, as I said, is not just giving some time for some community service and getting some credits, as you rightly recognized. So it is a way of life. The Sanghs, RSS, Swayam Sevaks, the volunteers, they feel that it is a way of life that they have adopted. So that's why the volunteer, generally it is counted in time, 1 hour, 1 day, etc. Here it is 24/7 and 365 days. And once a Swayam Sevak, always Swayam Sevak. That is our basic thing that we say. So that is, it is a lifestyle that he has adopted. He follows it in his family, and it becomes a habit to live a life of, as I said, values with integrity, honesty, transparency, service-mindedness, and that gets expressed in every activity of the person who joins the RS. So that's why this is continuous. It is possible because of person-to-person continuous communication and contact, and I've already explained that in the beginning, how it goes on and on for the continuation is there. So that is how the Sangh's volunteering work is there. It is not, as you rightly put it, for some, but it is a lifestyle. And RSS volunteers, the Sangha Swayam Sevaks, from day one they feel that they belong to this nation and culture, and they have to do something for society and pay back to society. So this is imbibed because of the activities that are conducted in 1 hour assembly, which we call Shaka. So because of that, this is possible.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Sudhanshu Kaushik. I'm a doctoral researcher at Johns Hopkins looking into political communications for young people. My question revolves around India. As you know, there are 67 crore or 670 million people below the age of 25. I've had the opportunity to study ABVP and how it engages young people. My question is more so, how do we move beyond, as someone who, what focuses on the day-to-day, how do we incorporate, or how does the Sangh incorporate more young people into its decision-making body? I know you were talking about the conflict, or not the conflict, but the way that modernity works with our culture and tradition. So as a Sanghatan, you value the time, the service that you put in, but modernity also requires more young people having a seat at the table. Really curious to hear your thoughts.
Yes, it is the activity that keeps engaged, as I already said. You wanted how many people? How young people are attracted?
Right, leadership in young people.
In RSS, all are young at heart. One more, the young people by age, of course, because the Sangh Shakas are having on the age group based. The Sangh Shakas are for the young kids, boys, school going boys, the people who are professionals, slightly grown up, and people who are retired, who are aged, who are senior citizens. So the activity designed accordingly. That is why shakas are also held. They are conducted on the age group based manner. So that is why as I said, sense of the young people contact the young people, and they come because of that friendship. One, and another thing is the leadership position is also there. These people are given the full freedom to design their activity. They conduct the whole the activity, the Shaka activity, and also the young people in the RSS. They are given the organizational positions because of one is RSS conducts training camps. Those who are having those training, because of that, organizational management is learnt. And another is experience because of their nature, behavior, and experience. They naturally take the leadership positions, and RSS believes in and practices teamwork and team leadership. That is continuously it happens. Every shaka is conducted because of a teamwork that is there. And these things help in achieving young people taking leadership positions and keep the activity going on.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much. Very fascinating to listen to the conversation, the fireside chat. My question, I'm Pradeep Kapoor. I'm from the Indian Foreign Service and work now in the area of geopolitics and academics and passionately involved with rural transformation. My question is, sir, the India-US partnership has the potential to become the defining partnership for the 21st century for the world. The threat perceptions on both the sides are quite similar. There's jihadi Islam, there's wokeism, there is China, there is terrorism, and maybe even political Islam for both the countries. How do the two countries better sync their positions and get into alignment in a way that it's better for US, it's better for India, and it's better for the world? Because we don't see that happening. We see lots of ups and downs and roller coaster rides and hiccups. How do we smoothen it a little bit in the long run with participation of the Indian diaspora here does a lot of work. Unfortunately, we do not have a parallel diaspora, American diaspora in India, which would, of course, help similarly if it was there. But what are your thoughts on that? Thank you.
About this thing, I think much has been discussed during the day, and nothing more to be added. The thing is, the India diaspora in America, that's their role, if you want. See, their first allegiance is to, actually, as citizens, those who are citizens here, they have a duty to be good citizens of this country, land. And as citizens, whatever is expected, they have to do that. And there is a cultural connect, and that should be retained. It will be retained naturally. And because of that, they can definitely help and participate in the process of creating better relation between these two great democracies and countries. And back home, if they feel that they can serve the cause of the culture, they are welcome to do that. But they can retain, they should continue that affinity. So, Indian diaspora in America is not one monolith. It is also having a lot of other, I'm not telling they are warring groups, because their situations are different. Some are coming on long visa, some have come as students, some are Indian origin people who have been here for decades like you, and some are born birthright citizenship they have acquired. So Indian diaspora also carries many of the identities that they have back home in India, language, religion, etc. So that's why it is having many identities simultaneously. One individual is also having multiple identities in different times. So that's why I think this unique diversity can achieve unity because of the unique RSS way of thinking. So that is all those people, they should primarily be motivated. The world is one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and their duty towards host country and their cultural responsibility.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid we are coming to the end of our time together, and if I don't finish up, we'll never get out of here. Just to close down the conference, first of all, I would like to thank Dattatreya for sharing his time with us like this. For the many distinguished guests, Ambassador Quattro, many other guests that are here today. I look around, I see a lot of faces of people I've come to know and trust in my work in India. My colleagues here at Hudson, I hope you heard the message from Joel Scanlon this morning of Hudson's deep determination to continue working on and helping to build this relationship. The many colleagues that joined us from other Washington think tanks. It's been, I think, a rich, exciting conference. It has renewed my own personal determination to continue to do what little I can do to build what I fully agree with Kurt Campbell is a decisive relationship for the peace and stability of the world in the 21st century. In some ways, when I think about what peace could look like at a time when I think most of us would say we don't see enough peace in the world, if India can be successful in bringing, let's not even talk about a geopolitical balance of power in Asia, but a cultural, economic, and social balance in the Indo-Pacific. If India can emerge as the kind of great civilizational power, font of ideas and enterprise, of generator of wealth, yet also built around a civilization of understanding, and take its full place among the other great nations and civilizations of the world, and I would never exclude China from a place at that table, Iran, many other fine nations, civilizations. India resuming its full place in the world is key to the development of a kind of a human world where we can all be fully members of our own cultures and civilizations, but learn from, mix with work with people all over the world. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Great.
Thank you.